Hi class, Darwin here. Going to talk about book covers. I personally am not one that has judged a book by its cover, strange as that sounds. One of the first things I did when I read the assignment was I went online to try to figure out how um, experts think about covers and how they design them and what they should be. I came up with a few pearls off the internet here. I thought I'd read them. One quote was, "Our brains are wired to process images faster than words. When we see an image, it makes us feel something. A great cover can help the reader instantly recognize that this book is for them." So there's one point of view. Here's another. "If a great design has gut level emotional appeal and the power to entice readers, a poorly designed cover can be a real turnoff." Um, so there was some perspective. Also, my daughter's quite a reader, and I asked her about this idea of judging a book from its cover, and she had some thoughts. Um, for example, she shared with me a couple of books from her collection. She showed me this one, and she said, "Dad, I was creeped out by the title. I didn't want to read the book." She actually did read some of the book, but she stopped reading it. She was really freaked out by the yellow eye, so that kind of turned her off from this book cover. I thought that was interesting. Um, Also, she actually read this book, but she said this is one of the more boring covers that she's seen. And I think one of the reasons she mentioned is it was published in 1951. But this book was given to her by a friend of the family, and she read it and enjoyed it. I think she's read it more than once. But it's an example of a cover that doesn't really draw you in much. Couple other things. Series books, like this is an example of a series book. My daughter calls this the window theory. So you get captivated by these series books. In this case, they put a window into the story, and in this case, the window is the main character of this particular I don't know what to call it. I guess it's this particular book in the series. So this would be book one or book three, or they title them different. And you can see this author does this quite a bit. This is Erin Hunter. She's got a window here with the characters. And my daughter says that kind of draws her into the book. She knows it's going to be about these two cats kind of as the main storyline. Um, let's see what else. In terms of the book cover that I wanted to redesign, so one of my selections for this week was a book called Most Dangerous by Steve Schenken. Very good story. As I looked at the cover, I kind of noticed, you've got the patriotic stars and stripes in the background. You've got this man, his name is Dan Ellsberg. He's the main character of the book. Right across his forehead and chin is the words "Most Dangerous." And then down below it says Daniel Ellsberg and the Secret History of the Vietnam War. So I looked at it and I kind of wondered, I didn't know anything about this story before I picked the book up. I knew it was about Vietnam. I wasn't sure if Dan was a war hero or if he was a politician. He's kind of got the suit and tie on, looking like he could be, politician, CIA, FBI, could be any of that. So, Vietnam is kind of one of those topics that is controversial, so it draws you in based on that. So I decided to redesign the book cover based on what I read. So I kind of had this theme where you've got really two sides of the equation. You've got the activists, the protesters. I've got a lot of peace symbols: make love, not war. You've got freedom, justice, faith, hope, joy. I mean, these are really some of the themes of what's in the book. And then I tried to filter in some of these other things. You've got a national security agency emblem, one nation under surveillance. Over here you got the NSA thing again. So I tried to put both sides of the story into the cover. And, one of the things that I found, it was kind of fun doing this because it makes you think about what you read, and you start to conceptualize ideas of, okay, how could I make a book cover that would be interesting? In the middle here, I chose to keep everything that the original illustrator did because I thought it was very well done. You've got the guy, Dan Ellsberg, the Stars and Stripes, a picture of the man. I believe, not sure what that emblem is there. That might be another, maybe that's an award. That's probably a book award. But I chose to keep that. And let's see. Some of the things that I thought about, redesigning a book cover activates the reader's creative mind. They're taking their full experience from reading the text, as well as all the things good readers do to extract meaning from a text, and coming up with an alternative book cover. They can feel firsthand what it's like to be an illustrator who conceptualizes the idea for the cover and also renders it through their creative artwork. In terms of some of the questions, how can this be a low-key fun activity for students to demonstrate their knowledge of a text? I thought it was fun myself. I think it uses students' creative skills, forces them to think and conceptualize, and really once they start doing it, I think it makes an excellent piece for their portfolio or their journal to go back and reflect on, because you've just had them create this image of what they read. And I really think when they reflect on it, say weeks later, months later, they're going to look at that image and know what they were thinking about when they made that piece of art. So I really think it taps into those creative skills, those critical thinking skills, and it brings all that stuff back that you were experiencing as you read the text. So that's what I had to share with you guys. Thanks for listening, and I hope you find it useful.